Hey, man.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my podcast. I'm Taylor.
I'm just trying to have energy, man. And this
Jeez.
podcast is all about me.
It's not all about you. It's about us.
Okay.
What? I'm trying to be inclusive.
Okay, I'll be inclusive to you. It's about you too.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Are you excited about the topic today?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. I don't get to talk about it. I'm just that annoying keto girl. So now I get to talk for like an hour and no one can interrupt me and everyone's forced to listen to me.
And by no one, you mean me.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You can actually talk. So should we start the show?
Yeah, let's start the show.
All right. Welcome to the Strive Nation podcast, the podcast where we talk about the monotony of daily life. But that's okay, because sometimes that's exactly what you need in this crazy world. My name is Cory Estreen, and I'm joined with my constant co-host, Taylor Huff. How are you doing today, my fiance?
Oh, I'm doing good.
You good?
Yeah.
You're always good.
I know.
All right, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about dieting, eating habits, keto, accountability, all the things.
Yeah, so I realized we haven't talked much about dieting and working out, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a big part of who we are as people. It's a part of our hobbies. It's what we do in our off time to stay fit. It's healthy. It's good physically and mentally.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, remember to go on all our social media links. Do this right now. I'll wait. Go like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Like all of them. Check us out.
Yeah. At Strive Nation Pod across all platforms.
Yes. But first.
Upvotes and downvotes.
Upvotes and downvotes. Let's get you first. What do you got for your upvote?
My upvote, I almost forgot it, was yesterday. It was 80-some degrees, and I got to lay by the pool and tan. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you love laying by the pool.
Honestly, if I was an animal, I would be a lizard because I just like to lay next to water and fry.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. It was one of those rooftop pools, you know, the bougie ones where you just get to lay out like rich people and have others feed you grapes.
You did not feed me grapes yesterday.
Well, no, but
I bought margaritas with your credit card though, so close enough.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I got to act like it for a day. It was lovely. You know what that reminded me of though? That pool. Yeah, remember in Beverly Hills Cop where Eddie Murphy's he's impersonating like all these different caricatures while he's going out and doing things. He's like, someone shit in the pool. I don't care who did it, but someone's got to go out there and clean the pool because someone shit in the pool. You remember that? Yeah. That's what I thought about all today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
You're a weirdo.
Yeah. Well, that's what it reminded me of. Like going out there, I was just like, yeah. Eddie Murphy. Someone shit in the pool.
Is that what you think every time you see a swimming pool?
Well, a swimming pool, that's nice. Yeah, kind of. I love Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop.
Eddie Murphy in general is just fantastic.
Yeah, he's real funny.
Yeah. What was your upvote?
My upvote was having all the visitors. So I don't get to see my friends from home very much because we're in Nashville now. Mm-hmm. The survivors that are from Wisconsin, you know. All the winters that may be, they got to come down. They're all on a road trip right now across the United States to several different places. And they came and visit for a couple days. So it was good to see them. Shout out to you guys.
You know who you are.
I mean, they're still on the road right now. So it'll be a while before they get back. But
yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, we had a lot of good food. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. But it was great. I really liked that. What's your downvote?
My downvote is I'm very nervous. We're about to have a bunch of riots again. And yesterday we already had, I think 4 of our stores had to close early because of rioting and protests. And I'm really, really nervous because I don't want my store to close because that affects my employees' hourly wages. I'll get paid, but they're not going to get paid if we close. So I'm honestly just kind of down in the dumps about that. I'm sad. I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that to be in front of our apartment. I don't want it to affect my business since we're coming back really, really strong from COVID. Like, I really don't want to affect my business.
No, I don't blame you there. I hope it doesn't happen. I just try not to think about it because it's depressing thinking about how many people use it as an excuse to go and destroy shit and steal shit.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time. I'm like, oh, Wednesday I'm going to get a call from the mall saying, the mall got broken into last night and your store is destroyed. I'm just waiting for it. So that's my downvote. Hopefully nothing happens.
Well, my store will be fine because no one wants to steal flooring. It's like, yeah, let's break in and steal thousands of pounds of things we can't even lift.
Oh my God,
Perfect.
That's so true.
Perfect.
No one's stealing like marble slabs.
Yeah, let's steal marble slabs that if you don't know how to load them, they all break anyways upon lifting them. Good luck with that.
Don't you also like barricade your store?
Yeah, I mean we do.
Oh.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
It's like a thing that big outlets do. What is it? Mitigate some
Ooh,
entry.
What a word, mitigate.
What a word. Look at you're on top of things today.
Woo! Feeling fabulous. Yeah, so that's my downvote. We'll see what happens. What's yours?
My downvote is I keep getting nauseous for some reason. In the middle of the night, I wake up, feel like I'm going to throw up, then shit diarrhea profusely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. It's not the vid, though, because I can taste things.
I love how you're like, I can taste, so it's not COVID.
Yeah, I can.
It's
I can taste
definitely
things.
not.
No, it's not COVID because I feel fine today, so it's definitely not that. Unless I'm one of those like, you barely have symptoms, you're asymptomatic.
Well, you have the one symptom that's really obscure. Like, that would be really, really weird.
Well, and I've been drinking I drank tons of water the last day, and then I didn't have it, so I think it's dehydration.
Oh, dude, that's what it is. You just gotta drink more water.
Yeah, just drink a bunch of water, get them electrolytes.
Yeah, man.
You know, rejuvenate the system. Yeah, so
Cleanse the
that kind of
body.
sucks, but it's like everyone knows how that is. Feeling nauseous is horrible. It's like you're just waiting. It's like waiting for death. It's just horrible.
Yeah, it's not a good time.
I think that is it, right? Unless you got anything to add.
Nah, I think we should start the show.
Okay, let's get into this thing. Why have we decided to talk dieting today? So we're talking dieting, weight loss. We're talking about health, mental
Lifestyle
and physical,
changing.
lifestyle changing for both of us. I mean, both of us have gone through some things.
Yeah.
So why are we talking about this today?
Because we want to talk about
No.
it. It's such a big part of our lives. It is for everyone. You know, what you eat every day, what your habits are, if you're working out, if you're physically active, you know, it affects your body, it affects your mind. And it's something that I've become really passionate about, the past 4 years, and recently re-jumped back on the train. And yeah, I think it's really fun to talk about. I think it's really fascinating and hearing about the different stories and all the results and how it affects people. I just become consumed and obsessed with it, and I want to keep learning more. So I think it's a good thing to talk about.
Right. So that's kind of what I was getting at, because you kind of got off the train, but recently you just went balls to the walls again.
Yeah.
So it's interesting coming from that perspective, from you specifically, because you're the one who follows a lot of this. So I figured it would be good, just especially to get your perspective on everything.
I like science.
I like. What do you think about this? About rocket engineering? I like science.
Okay,
Sounds good.
I like food science.
Food is yummy.
God, I'm such a dork.
Especially when it has sugar in it.
No sugar. So yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about.
Sugar keep my tum-tum. Yum yum.
Oh God. Don't listen to Cory.
Okay, so the first part we want to talk about is some dieting fads.
Yeah, I want to talk about dieting fads because they're terrible, awful, and I don't think a lot of people talk about them, but we all know they exist. And a lot of people still follow these terrible fads. And it's no, it's not good for you. Don't do that.
Okay, so when you say dieting fads, what are you talking about?
So I'm talking primarily like all the things I grew up being taught that were healthy and that would aid in weight loss that are really like non-productive whatsoever. So like remember in the 90s and early 2000s when low fat became like a very popular thing and non-fat, yeah, that's a bunch of load of BS. Like it's a lower calorie because it's low fat or non-fat, but it's not doing any good for your body.
Well, why is it a bunch of BS?
Well, because it's just lowering the calorie content, but just removing fat. Like fat is good for you. Your body is supposed to have fat. Your body's supposed to run on fat. And by removing that source, then your body has to rely on running on carbs only. Well, carbs is sugar. It was just like so stupid. They're like, oh, here's some non-fat yogurt. So you think it's good for you. But then it's got 50 grams of sugar and like red dye number 4. I'm like, so red dye number 4 is good for me, but not like a whole healthy fat from a cow.
Right, and what do they say that red dye, like a yellow dye number 87, what do they do to people?
They're so crazy. Apparently it has a lot to do with like kids having like ADHD, and there's a ton of research about it. I don't know fully about all of the food dyes. I try and stay away from them. They're just like really terrible for you.
So which dieting fads are you talking about specifically? I know there's a lot of them.
So yeah, like the whole like no fat, low fat kind of situation.
Right, but are we talking specific ones? Are you talking about like Weight Watchers or
Well,
whatever?
yeah, I was about to get into that. So like I personally don't think I think Weight Watchers is a scheme. I don't really think it works. I think it's kind of pointless. I have learned a lot about food and food nutrition and what sources of food you're supposed to get and how they turn into different things in your body and help your body run successfully, which I think is how you should learn about food and learn how to eat healthy. Versus Weight Watchers is just assigning everything a point and saying like, you can eat 50 points of food today. Well, if that was me, I'd be like, okay, an Oreo's 20 points. Well, I'll eat the Oreo and then I'll just eat like crackers for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? I just think it's not a productive way to teach people how to eat healthy. Yeah, you're going to lose some weight because you're calorie restricting, which means you're eating less calories than what your body would maintain a weight on. When you calorie restrict, that means you're eating less calories, which means you're burning weight off, basically. But with Weight Watchers, it's not teaching you how to successfully eat healthy. And that's my issue with it. And that's the issue I have with all these different like diet fads, like Weight Watchers, like Jenny Craig. Atkins isn't like that terrible because they focus on being lower carb, but they're just not teaching you how it affects your body. They're just saying, do this.
Right,
like
right.
You should learn why you're doing it. Like, what is the point?
Right. So what you're telling me is that someone like me, who's not a very intelligent guy, is basically going to look at Weight Watchers and go, I'm going to lead myself to an early death because I'm going to eat like 6 Oreos a day for the next 20 days to lose weight.
I could see you doing that.
Be like, I got this, bro.
But some people do that. I was listening to this girl. She was doing an interview for this podcast I listened to, and she was talking about how she used to eat really, really low calories. She would eat 500 calories a day, which is insane.
What's the average?
Most people eat around 2,000. I currently eat about 1,200 calories. I'm on a calorie deficit right now to lose weight. I usually maintain, which means where I'm not like losing or gaining weight, I'm staying consistently. I usually eat around like 16,000 calories.
Okay, so it's a little bit less.
Yeah, but she was eating 500 calories a day, and that was it. It's like, how does your body have any energy to go do anything? You're not giving enough energy. And the food she was eating one giant bowl of oatmeal in the morning. Like Quaker Oats, like you just add the water and microwave it.
Wow.
Like that's not good for you. But that's what she was taught in Weight Watchers. You know, like this is so many points. You know, I'm going to eat this. It's super filling. It's very carb heavy. It's going to last the whole day. I'm like, yeah, you're going to feel full, but you didn't give yourself any energy.
Right.
You just had a bunch of sugar. So you're going to crash at probably like 4 p.m., 3 p.m. You're going to feel exhausted. You're not going to have the energy to go work out or stay up later. You're not giving your body anything. You're giving your body freaking cardboard.
Right. So overall, you wouldn't recommend a lot of these.
No, anything that's not teaching you about how this is going to like affect your body and how it turns into energy in your body, I think is unproductive.
So a big part of dieting is education, you'd say?
Oh, for sure. I think that's why everyone has so much difficulties staying on. It's called dieting for a reason, because you go on a diet, you lose a whole bunch of weight, you fall off the wagon, you gain more weight. Then you do another diet, you lose a whole bunch of weight. Then you jump, like it's a whole huge yo-yoing effect. And you're yo-yoing and just doing all these different things because you don't know how it affects your body. You're just told, oh, eat this many calories, eat this many points, and you're going to lose weight. But you're not taught about like the energy sources or like how it'll affect your brain or your muscle and like your bone density. Like vegans and vegetarians have huge issues with their bone density because they're not getting enough nutrients.
Right. So basically you're yo-yoing your body.
Yeah.
From overweight to skinny, from overweight to skinny.
Yeah.
Because that's why people diet is they diet when they feel they have to do something.
Well, for your summer body or when you have a wedding coming up.
Right. I mean, wouldn't it just be better to like adapt a lifestyle that's healthy overall so you don't have to ever really worry about yo-yoing your body? But then that's where discipline comes in and people are like, that's too hard. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely where the discipline comes in. I mean, and I'll be honest, like I've had issues with discipline.
Right.
Like I moved to Nashville and I was like, ooh, biscuits and grits. I'm going to enjoy myself. And then I've realized, oh, I enjoyed a lot of biscuits and grits the past 2 years.
That's each name of one of my butt cheek. One butt cheek is biscuits. The other butt cheek is grits. Biscuits and grits.
Basically.
Okay, awesome. So what about scientists paying off?
Yeah. So there's been some interesting things that have come out. I can't remember where I learned this from. It was an interview or it was a documentary where these scientists were basically paid off to give out false information. So they're paid off by these companies, these like big giant food companies, to tell people that fat was the reason people had heart disease and not sugar. And again, this was in the 90s and the early 2000s when everything was low fat, no fat. Like you saw the phrase and you heard the phrase like heart healthy, like Cheerios. Cheerios still say
healthy heart.
Healthy heart on it. Yeah. So all these scientists were paid off to say, oh, fat causes heart disease. Like don't eat fat. It's going to clog your arteries. Like everyone's heard that phrase before. And it's really not true. And there's this one study that people love to bring up saying like, oh, the scientists did a study of all these different places and the countries that ate really low fat had lower heart disease, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you look at that study, it's a terrible study. He like cherry picked specific countries, basically to just drive the narrative that he wanted to do and was completely inconclusive to what the actual like facts and statistics were. Right. So I just think that's crazy. Like scientists were paid just to lie. I'm like, wouldn't you want people to know the truth so that they can be healthy in their bodies? Like everyone from like every girl you talk to at some point has dieted and automatically been in their brain, oh, I can't eat fat. Fat is bad for me.
Right. Do you think that happens a lot with scientists? I mean, if they can pay them off for these things, what about other things not even in the health sector?
I know. Isn't that scary to think about what else they've been paid off for?
Right. Correct. Like they're polarized.
Yeah.
To
I saw a meme and it said that scientists can be paid off just as easy as politicians.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that stuff's scary.
It is scary. They just get paid to like skew information. I mean, you can get into it about politics and that's how media is. Like money, sways everyone's decisions. Same with like food additives. People talk about, especially the US, we have tried to make things so shelf stable that we don't look at like, is that good for us? So we add all these chemicals and all these, you and I were just talking about like food dyes, all these things in to make our food look better and taste better in regards of like sugar and make it shelf stable so it can sit in the pantry for 40 years. But is that really good for us? No. Like, I guarantee an organic tomato is going to taste so much better. An organic tomato is going to taste better because it doesn't have all these pesticides and these dyes injected into it to make it look like the perfect supermarket tomato. Like, your tomato shouldn't... What does it matter what it looks like as long as it tastes great? You know? I always thought that was weird.
Well, I don't know. Food, I think a big part of food is what it looks like.
Yeah, but because we've added all this stuff into all of our produce, we don't even know what the normal food version of it looks like.
I mean, you probably know what a tomato looks like generally.
Yeah, but we wouldn't pick out that, like, tomato that's, like, discolored or, like, not as dark as, or not as bright of a red because we're so used to seeing, like, the bright red tomato in the supermarket. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
It's just added in absolutely everywhere, and it's so ingrained into our food systems that we don't even realize it.
Speaking of preservatives, so this one time, my uncle, I think it was my uncle anyways, he bought a McDonald's burger, and he set it on his mantelpiece for like 20 years. It looked exactly the way, and he never touched it. And it looked exactly the way that he put it up there 20 years later. It looked exactly the same.
Why did he do that?
Just to see if it would change.
Are you for real?
Yeah, and it didn't change.
Your uncle just randomly did that?
I'm pretty sure it was my uncle, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. I've heard of like doctors doing that.
Yeah, so if you want to know what you're eating, I'm not saying to hate on McDonald's because I love me some McDonald's fries and Big Macs and stuff like that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's not good for you.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get into your diet specifically. So what do you do now, like right now?
Yeah.
Compared to, I guess, when you first jumped on the train.
Okay, so yeah, I am currently keto. I want to say I never really had to worry about my weight growing up. I've always been a curvier kind of gal. I've always been a little chesty. I've just always been very curvy, but I never worried about my weight. I always grew up like really body positive. I mean, obviously, I was a teenage girl, so like with dance and modeling, like I would have doubts about my weight, but I never really had to like work at losing weight or anything until I got older, like after college. Right now, I'm keto. I was keto for almost a full year a couple years ago, and then we moved down here and I fell off the wagon, but I am back to keto. So which keto is really low carb, and it's high fat, high healthy fats. So I mostly, and I eat 12,000 calories a day. So I'm calorie restricted right now. I'm on a deficit.
1,200 calories, not 12,000.
Oh my God.
We're not Michael Phelps here.
Could you imagine?
I eat 12,000 calories a day because I run 18 miles a day.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just that active.
Yeah, my legs are ripped.
I can't. Oh my God. 1,200 calories a day. And what I mostly eat is lots of meats, fattier meats like chicken thighs, steaks, salmons, ground beef, eggs, bacon, which is amazing, leafy greens. I just avoid carbs. So eating potatoes, breads, rice, all of the things that are super carb dense, I just don't eat them.
Right. So what is the normal human female? What does she normally get for carbs a day on average without restricting anything, like the normal American female?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, so I think it's around 220 to 260
in carbs a day.
Carbs a day. Men are more like 300, a little over 300.
Really?
Yeah. So what do you get?
Oh, I eat under 20 net carbs.
So she eats under 20 net carbs compared to the 200 to 240 in that range. She eats about a tenth of that a day.
Yeah. Well, and net carbs are different than normal carbs. So net carbs is your carbohydrates, and then from that you can subtract any sugar alcohols because they don't spike your glucose glucose and they don't spike your sugar levels. And then also taking out dietary fiber. Because again, dietary fiber counteracts with carbohydrates. It's not spiking my blood sugar at all, which keeps me in a state of ketosis. What ketosis is basically my body, since I consume pretty much like 75% of my diet is fat, I eat mostly fat. Therefore, my body takes that fat, converts it into ketones, which is energy, and then my body burns fat as a source of energy instead of carbohydrates like the main normal average human being. So, and that's called being in a state of ketosis.
Okay, so generally you like keto though. I mean, you were on it before and you like it now.
I like it because I feel like it's very, once you figure out how to do it successfully, like there's definitely a lot of trial and error. I think the first month I did it my very first time, I was eating all these things I didn't realize were spiking my blood sugar, like maltitol and like soybean oil. I didn't know any better. But yeah, I really enjoy it just because you're eating healthy, real foods. That's the biggest thing about keto, and that's the biggest thing I've learned from all of my research, is I'm eating real food. I'm eating a chicken thigh with some Brussels sprouts that I cooked in 2 tablespoons of butter. You know, I'm not eating processed cereal and processed like rice. I'm not eating some kind of marinade that has soybean oil and all these different additives in it. It's really similar to paleo, which is eating like how cavemen eat.
Right. What other types of diets are similar to keto?
Well, definitely paleo. So paleo is just like a carb. They eat a little bit more carbs, but they're still eating full, real foods, which I think is the most important thing. Like you shouldn't be eating something that can stay shelf stable for 30 years. Like the McDonald's, probably not a great idea. I will eat a McDonald's burger patty every now and then, but I'm not eating that every day. So eating things that are real foods found on planet Earth, you know, I'm not eating tofu. That's not really made by the earth. And then,
aliens eat tofu, okay?
Probably. That sounds freaking gross and nasty. But then also carnivore is super similar to keto. It's basically just a more extreme keto. It just means you don't eat any leafy greens. So in keto, like I love to eat Brussels sprouts. I eat asparagus. I eat lots and lots and lots of cheese because I freaking love cheese, and it's 0 carb and it's high in fat. So carnivore is basically meat only. Which honestly, I really like carnivore. I would probably eat it, but I like to have a little bit of variation. Honestly, I just really like cheese.
Okay, so for people that do those extremes, like carnivore, do they need to supplement their diet with multivitamins and things to get the proper nutrients from certain things they wouldn't get otherwise?
Nope, they can get that all from meat, which people don't really realize that. Carnivore and keto, you can get all the nutrients that you were getting from all of those fruits, from all of those vegetables, from the meat that you intake. You don't have to supplement with anything. They do advise that you maybe take some like electrolytes, just because your body doesn't retain a lot of water weight when you're keto and carnivore. So they recommend maybe having some magnesium and some potassium and salt, which again, is just electrolytes. It's just making sure your body stays hydrated. Rather than that, you don't have to at all. People who are carnivore usually do eat ruminant meats, which is more like red meat, eat a lot of beef, a lot of lamb. They also eat like liver, beef liver, like that kind of stuff. I'm not about the liver life, but yeah.
So what about that crazy statistic where like a certain percentage of men in their 50s have like 15 pounds of undigested red meat in their stomach?
Oh, that's not real. That's completely false.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Completely false, which is crazy. People, I've just been told that meat is the source of all of your problems. That fat causes heart disease. That you don't digest all this red meat. Your body digests it just fine. Like there's people who have been keto and who have been carnivore for 12 to 15 years and are in amazing amazing health, have perfect heart when they go get like the cardiographs and all that stuff, their heart's in perfect condition. That's definitely not a real thing.
Oh.
Again, it's just a thing that we're just randomly told.
Oh, so what about the food pyramid?
It's a scheme. Again, it was scientists paid off to say, like, this is how we're going to build our food pyramid. The food pyramid was also invented, when we didn't have a lot of fresh foods. When, like during, the 2 world wars, when we were short on foods. Well, if you're short on food, and like same with the Great Depression, what did a lot of kids during that time eat? Like my grandpa said he always ate a ton of rice and a ton of rice pudding. It was just cheap and it was filling. Just like all of the kids in Africa and Ethiopia, like what do we send over to them to eat? Rice. So we built our food pyramid to have that bottom part be mostly carb heavy, just so honestly it was cheap and efficient and we can make sure people were being fed. I think the pyramid should be meat and like avocados, butters, like that kind of stuff on the bottom. Coconut, more avocados. That should like be the bottom. And then it should be leafy greens or Brussels sprouts, asparagus, all kind of greens. And then it should be like berries.
That's it?
Yeah. You can put a little bit of sugar at the top.
Okay, so where's the donut in there?
The donut should not be in your daily diet.
I think the donut should be in the daily diet.
No, I love donuts.
I need one donut a day keeps the doctor away.
Oh, God. Okay, Simpson. Oh, my God.
Okay, let's get into some. So a little bit about keto then specifically because that's the one that you focus on.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I do.
So what are some positives and negatives to keto?
So in my opinion, I don't think there's a lot of negatives, except for you do have to understand that it is a lifestyle change. It's not just a diet. If you do, like take me for example, I was keto for almost a full year. I hopped off the wagon. I gained that weight back because I went back to eating like the standard American diet with carbs and sugar and all the things, and I gained weight back. So you have to look at keto as a lifestyle change, not as a diet. If you just want to lose a quick like 15 pounds, keto's not for you because you're going to gain it all back in like 2 months. So I think that's the biggest negative about keto. And I will say that my body is more sensitive to carbohydrates and to sugars when I am keto. Like I do off-plan days, like once a month I'll do an off-plan day where I can eat whatever I really, really want. So I usually eat a donut because I love donuts. And then Cory and I always usually get like pizza or sushi. And that is what I eat on my off-plan day. And then I go right back to keto. But I do notice that my body does not handle carbs and sugars well when I do that. Which is also kind of your body saying like, hey, you should probably not be eating this because your body feels like shit on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think those are the negatives. But there's just so many positives. The brain clarity and the focus you have and the energy you get from keto is phenomenal. That's one thing that they really, really talk about, especially with children. Ton of kids who have been diagnosed ADHD, ADD, and are put onto Adderall. Kids are put on Adderall and all these different meds. Their parents will take them off of that, put them on a whole food keto diet, and their ADD is gone. Their mental clarity, they are focused. And I definitely noticed that too. When I'm keto, I will wake up at 7 a.m. and I'll be like, okay, I'm awake. Like, I have to get up. I got to start my day. So the mental clarity, I think, is huge. You don't get that mid-afternoon slump anymore because you just have more energy. That just is what it is. So I think that's one of the biggest positives. It also helps a ton of people with all different kind of health issues. There's a ton of people who talk about that have severe like clinical depression, who have bipolar disorder, any kind of mental disorder. These people will go to a keto lifestyle or a carnivore lifestyle and can get weaned off of all of their medication. So it's proven to help with mental health. If you have type 2 diabetes and you don't want to take your medication, become keto. You're keto, you're not spiking your blood sugar all the time by eating these carbs and eating these sugars. You There's studies shown that you go keto and 2 months later, you were completely off of all of your diabetes meds, which is crazy. Like, there's a cure to type 2 diabetes. No one talks about it because doctors don't want to recommend eating a lot of fat. There's trained, don't eat a lot of fat. But when I went to the doctor, she was like, okay, make sure you're eating like healthy meals, like low fat, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, fat is good for you, but they just don't teach you that. That's my rant on that. Type 2 diabetes is pretty much curable with keto. And same with a ton of people who have joint issues. Michaela Peterson, she has her own podcast. She's the daughter of Jordan Peterson. She had so many health issues. She had the mental health issues where she's severely severely depressed. She had like manic attacks. She had a ton of joint issues. She had an ankle replaced. She had
chronic arthritis in all of her limbs.
Chronic arthritis in every single limb. She also had leaky gut. And she cured all of that by being first very, very low carb keto. And then she ended up going straight to carnivore. She just felt carnivore felt better for her body. But she's completely healed her body and healed her leaky gut at this point. And she has slowly started to add more foods in that are more keto focused.
Jordan Peterson himself has also gone carnivore to help with his immune deficiencies as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy how much just eating healthy will solve those kind of problems. Especially when you look at it for mental health. Kayla Pearson just did an amazing podcast called Carnivore Anecdotes, was the title of the episode, where she talked to 4 different people and how being keto/carnivore changed their entire lives. And changed, like, this one girl was anorexic. She had an eating disorder. She was extremely bipolar. There's another girl that's schizophrenic. All their problems solved by being keto and carnivore.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now's the time where I get to talk about my diet restrictions.
Yes, Cory.
And
let's hear
I can
about
provide my own keto negatives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My metabolism is pretty bamf. I can pretty much eat anything I want at any time and never gain weight. Isn't it crazy, guys? Isn't it crazy? No, but seriously, I'm healthy sometimes and I'm unhealthy sometimes. So at home, I pretty much eat everything that Taylor cooks, whatever it may be, and most of which is her keto dinners. So generally, they're pretty healthy from that standpoint. Just as a person, I'm not really interested in any type of snacks, anything that has like chips, cookies, candy, anything, cakes, anything with a lot of sugar, like sweet sugar. I just don't eat at all. Like, I'm not interested in it. So I don't have any of that lying around the house. I completely gave up soda like 10 years ago. So I have like no soda. I do continue to eat my favorite, which is pizza. I will not give up pizza. I stand by it. I do have coffee and beer.
Beer's low carb.
Well, yeah, beer's low carb, but I don't follow a low carb because here's the thing. When Taylor was first doing keto, I was doing it with her to my detriment because it did nothing for me. I was doing it strictly to hold her accountable, to do it with her, to help her.
I completely forgot about this.
And here's the negatives for me. And I understand that keto gives you a lot of positives, but for a male that eats like probably more than double the amount of calorie intake that the average male does, I probably intake around, I'm guessing anywhere 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day when I'm eating like a good day. So I eat a lot of calories. The whole cutting all the carbs out wasn't filling me. So in order to actually make me enough food, it was extremely expensive. Because remember, when you're cutting out carbs like the carbs from breads and pastas and things like that, you're taking out a lot of the things that they used to fill you with.
The cheap foods, the cheap fillers.
The cheap fillers. And then you're replacing it with really expensive things, which are meats. Meats are generally much more expensive than all of these fillers.
Yeah.
So that when you're taking out all of that, like for a man that's very hungry all the time, it's going to be very expensive, and we couldn't afford it. So I straight up went back to the normal lifestyle of eating whatever I want. it's pretty easy for me. I'm not someone who's gonna fall prey to like, oh, I'm gonna eat things that aren't healthy for me all the time. So I'm kind of lucky in that way. Plus, my metabolism is really, really, really good. I haven't gained weight in years. For the last 15 years, I probably weighed the exact same weight at a 165, 170. I think at one point I was up to 182 when I lived pretty sedentary, when I was still living with my parents, because I had food options available to me, and I just ate it because it was there, not necessarily because I was hungry. And I'm sure everyone understands what that's like.
Well, especially this last year, COVID, being locked in the house.
Right,
With
exactly.
everyone.
Exactly. I think another big part to like keeping my weight low is at home. This is going to sound funny, but I stand by this. A lot of times I just don't wear clothes at home. And I don't sleep with clothes either, because they tell you that actually going to bed completely naked actually contributes to your body. Your body is working harder at night to stay warm, which contributes to weight control. And also putting your body through discomfort is supposedly supposed to be better for you as well, as far as that goes. So I think a lot of this I just do naturally without even thinking. It's just my normal lifestyle. Taylor and I, we're very active people. We both work in retail. We both, I mean, I average about 13,000 steps a day at between my job and walking home. But we also park a few blocks away from our apartment to save money, to save costs on parking. But I enjoy the walk, but with that 2 to 3 block walk every morning and every night is also contributing to a non-sedentary lifestyle. We're very active people.
Yeah.
So I think adding all of this stuff together definitely helps with our case as far as keeping weight down, or keeping healthy, or keeping fit. It's always really good to keep all of the variables in mind when you're thinking about this stuff. It's not just one. It's usually an all-inclusive thing to why.
Yeah, it's definitely lifestyle change. You have to eat healthy. You have to set healthy habits. You have to, get some kind of workout in. I mean, it does start in the kitchen, but you can't get to what you want your fullest potential to be without working out or adding to it.
Right, exactly. Like diet, they say diet is what, 85% of
Yeah, I think it's
what
like
is it, losing weight or something, or 80%. What is it?
80%.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that, which I can definitely see.
Yeah.
But that's only to the losing weight part. You're actually not actually contributing to the health of your muscles, your bones, all of that when you're not exercising and living, I would say, non-sedentary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I switched. I didn't stay on keto because it's extremely expensive, but also for someone who, I mean, I'm with you guys. Like, I love pizza. I love flatbreads. I like pasta. It's some of my favorite foods. I was giving all that up, and that was rough for me. That was real rough for me. It's very hard to substitute some of these things if those are your favorites, specifically because they don't. I get it. They don't taste the same. Like, for me, they didn't taste the same. And there's a lot of times when it is very bland eating the same things all the time. And this is coming from someone who literally can go a month to 2 months straight just eating canned goods for lunch at work. Okay. So I completely understand it, but
it just wasn't filling for you.
Well, that's my thing too. Is like I was not getting full on it.
Yeah.
I wasn't being. It's like how much can I go eat and not get satisfied every single night for dinner?
Yeah.
And then I couldn't afford it, so it really. But here's the thing: for people that eat normal, for especially females that eat less, something like keto could completely be doable. And everyone's body is different too. You definitely have to find out what works for you and what's going to be most healthy for you. Because there's been a lot of times where certain things don't work for people and certain things do work for people. You definitely have to find that balance and figure out what is the best option for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. You have to do the research, and you kind of just have to like test different things out to see what feels good for your body. I know some people who they're just like, I don't enjoy keto. Like, I don't feel like they just don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy the foods that they're eating.
So what about some accountability, to keep you on track with your weight loss or working out, things of that nature? What can you do to hold yourself accountable?
Yeah. I think one thing that holds myself accountable, which sounds weird, but continuing my research, so continuously listening to different people's podcasts and their experiences with keto and how it's changed their lives. Just kind of, reminding myself of why it works for me and why it's so successful and why it's so successful for other people. So I think that helps. There's also a ton of apps. I like to use, again, I think it's science driven. You should be tracking what you're putting into your body to see what the effects are. So I use MyFitnessPal to track what foods I'm eating. Then I can also see what my macros are to see how much carbs I'm eating, to make sure I'm staying underneath my 20 net carbs, to see what percentage of fat and protein I'm eating. So I think that is super, super helpful. I have, if you remember a couple episodes ago, I talked about how on your phone you can customize all the different widgets. I went on Pinterest, found a whole bunch of quotes that really spoke to me. A ton of Gary Vee stuff about working hard and you have to be uncomfortable to see results. And I made a whole page on my phone, just all this Gary Vee stuff. And I will seriously scroll over to the page and look at it once a day and be yeah, you got this. You're going to do it. Work hard for the things you want. I don't know. It's little reminders to give yourself. I also think having some kind of buddy system is so productive. Right now, I have my sister, my stepmom, and then 2 of my friends. We all have this app called Habit Share. So you can put whatever habits on there that you want, and you have to mark when you do them every day, and you can see each other's habits. So I saw that my 2 friends both logged their workout and their hydrate today, which means they worked out and then they drank their certain amount of water. But you can message each other and be hey, I see you didn't log your workout today. What's up? It just keeps each other accountable. Hey, I'm going to notice when you're slacking off and you better do the same to me and be hey, dude, where's your workout? You got to get it in. The last thing I want to touch base about is the culture surrounding weight loss. I feel it's really toxic.
What do you mean?
So I didn't notice it before until I started to lose weight. Girls don't like to talk. Girls don't like to acknowledge other girls losing weight. It's a very about me. I don't want to acknowledge that you're doing something good for yourself, which I just think is really odd. I've noticed it. If you're a girl, you'll notice that it's kind of uncomfortable if you saw a friend lose weight to straight up say hey, did you lose weight? That's awesome.
Is it because you're insecure about yourself?
I don't know, because I don't have an issue with it being hey, you lost weight, that's awesome. It doesn't bother me. But I notice a lot of girls, if you bring up weight loss, you'd be oh yeah, I lost 10 pounds. They'll just be oh cool, and just kind of diet off from there. Wow. So I don't know if it's a jealousy thing, or we're just taught so much as women, you have to stay body positive. We shouldn't be fat shaming women. So it's almost to the whole, I don't want to fat shame people, then reverses itself as in, I don't want to acknowledge when you're losing weight. Because if I acknowledge that you lost weight, that means then I think you were fat to begin with.
So it's the whole not acknowledgement period.
Yeah, it's this weird kind of circle. I mean, not
you just let everyone get fatter altogether then.
Whoa, that's so weird. No.
So do you think that it would be better if we formed a culture in which we acknowledge weight loss and support each other in the endeavor of keeping healthy both mentally and physically?
Oh, yeah. Yes, 100%. I think we should talk about mental health more and acknowledge oh yeah, I went to therapy. I'm feeling really good about it. I did my bullet journal this morning. It helped me clear my mind. That's awesome. Good for you. Let me be Nicole Arbor for a second. Fuck yeah, go team. Or hey, I can finally run 2 miles. That's awesome. Keep it up. I lost 10 pounds. You look great. That is so cool. You need clothes. Let's go shopping together. You lost some weight. I just think we should be more positive about it. Because honestly, if someone said to me hey, looks like you lost some weight, I'd be oh, thank you. I did lose weight. It's just, yeah, this whole culture surrounding it, I just think is really I want to use a better word than toxic because everyone uses the word toxic. It's not very encouraging. Like, did anyone ever...
It's not productive.
It's not productive whatsoever.
And it's discouraging.
It's very discouraging. Yeah, because, I mean, definitely when the first time I was keto, I was down significantly. I was down
35 pounds.
I was down 35 pounds. I was 35 pounds. You look very different, 35 pounds skinnier.
Yeah.
And there would be some people that wouldn't acknowledge my weight loss whatsoever. And I'm like, I look like a completely different person. And I'm not looking for you to be like, oh my God, you're so skinny. That's amazing. But I'm looking for at least acknowledgement of like, hey, like you look good. Like someone acknowledges when you change your hair. Oh my God, your hair's so different. I love it. You know, it just doesn't happen with weight loss.
Right.
Like people don't talk about Adele. She lost like literally hundreds of pounds and looks fantastic. I don't think anyone talked about her weight loss because people don't want to talk about, oh, if I say she looks great now and she lost all that weight and that was good for her, then that means I think she was overweight like in the beginning. Well, she was overweight. Like, that is what it is. She was overweight, but now she's not. And, you know, good for her. Adele, great job. You lost weight. You look fantastic. You're probably, like, crazy, super healthy. You probably work out. You're going to live a longer, healthier life for your child you just had. I just think we should be more positive and encouraging of each other.
Well, that's a good place to end the show.
Yes, it is.
Some notes for improving our culture surrounding weight loss in the United States. We have to work on all the other parts as well, but one little step at a time.
Yep.
Thank you for answering all these questions today, Taylor. Glad to have you on the show. And thank you guys coming on and listening today.
Yes, thank you for listening to me rant
about our talks on weight loss and dieting. It was a grand old show.
Yeah. We will see you on our next episode. Remember, we do bi-weekly show uploads on Wednesdays. Next episode is going to be on April 28th.
Yeah, so see you there for the monthly scoop, guys.
Oh, yeah. Also, check out our affiliate link for Instacart. You can order your groceries for delivery through their app. They will text you if they're out of your product and offer suggestions. They will also not give you shitty produce, which other people do. I'm not going to say a name. Thanks so much for listening. Follow us on all socials at Strive Nation Pod. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
And remember, when the world is upside down, Strive Nation's right side up. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.